here this time, I will show you how I did this shelf for my 25 years of service plaque.
Last November, everyone who started working at the CBC in 1986 received a plaque commemorating 25 years of service. Both my wife and I received one. It's now time to make a shelf to display them in the living room. I start by cutting some pieces from a walnut board. I always cut pieces from a big board like this with a handsaw. That's because once my circular saw pinched, and now I'm scared. But after cutting everything, I realized that maybe small pieces like these wouldn't pinch. Then I make 2 straight faces on the jointer. The other side goes through the thickness planer. After that, both sides are cut straight. I start the wall support by making sliding dovetails in the center of the piece. It's really hard to make a sliding dovetail like this one on the router. Now I need to cut the support at a 7-degree angle. To do this, I'm making a jig with a scrap piece of plywood. I mark the angle and I cut it square on the table saw. The angled part, I cut it on the bandsaw. After the jig is done, I can cut the walnut. I place the freshly cut side on the rib fence, and I cut the sliding dovetail at an angle. The top of the support must be cut straight along this new angle. Now, I must do the male part of the sliding dovetail. I make several small passes on the router table until both pieces slide freely inside each other. Then, with the help of the wall support, I cut it free. The second one doesn't need the wall support. On each wall support, I drill a chamfer hole so I can fix it to the wall. It's time now to make the stub dado of 3/4 of an inch in the center of the shelf. This time, I can make several passes on the router table. Since the ends are round, I need to square them with chisels. To make the tenon on the wall support, I use my tenoing jig. I bought the plans at woodgears.ca. Now I need to cut the shoulder on 3 faces. I cut the last cheek on the bandsaw. Now I can try to see if everything fits as expected. Then I spray glue on my patterns and I put them on the walnut pieces. When all 4 patterns are glued, I cut them on the bandsaw. On the half-round piece, I sand the edge round. Now it's time to glue the pieces together. I put glue inside the mortise and on the tenon. To finally put everything together, I just need to clamp this and wait for the glue to dry overnight. The next morning, I start carving the shelf. I can say one thing. Even with my die grinder and those carving files, it takes time carving what I want in walnut because it's a very hard wood to work with. When the shelf is the way I want it, I start carving the wall support. Here's the difference between a sculpted shelf and an unsculpted one. When the second one is done, I put both of them back to back and give them the same shape. I change the spinning file for a smoother one, and I file everything again. Then I sand the parts that I can access with a sander. The rest is done with a pneumatic drum. I sand the side of the shelf and also the top. The sharp corners are sanded by hand. After blowing off the dust, I put a coat of Danish oil. It's the same one I use on my guardrail for my stairs. I want the same look and texture as this walnut. Inside the holes of the wall mounting bracket, I put in some small screws, which are barely sticking out. So when the bracket is inserted in the shelf, they will tell me where to make the holes in the wall. In order to do so, I put the shelf level on the mark on the wall and I press it onto the wall. Now I have some marks on the G-Proc. I punch 2 holes with a scratch out and screw in the G-Proc fastener. Now I can screw the bracket itself. When that's done, I can put the shelf in its place and put my plaque on it. I just need to do the same thing for my wife's plaque. Here they are, both of them displayed on our living room wall. Here's the shelf for my 25 years of service as a news editor and trainer for new editors for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. Thank you for watching and see you next time for another episode of the Woodpecker.